Hey guys, welcome back to Doing It DIY. If you're new here, welcome. My name's Allison. If you haven't subscribed, I hope that you will so that you can be part of the Doing It DIY family and we can DIY together. Today I have 4 super easy, chill, totally doable Dollar Tree DIYs that I hope you're going to like. Everything you need to complete these projects is in the description box below. We're going to start with this super easy home sweet home sign. It's my birthday today, and it was my daughter's birthday on Sunday, so I've been kind of busy. I wanted to do some projects that were easy, but that I also liked, so here we go. We're going to start by taking the sign and giving it 2 coats on the front and the sides of apple barrel white paint. I always use apple barrel white paint. I never have any issues. I decided to buy a big bottle instead of a small bottle, and it was quite runny and not as opaque as the small bottle. I was kind of disappointed, but 2 coats did it. Just something to keep in mind if you use apple barrel paint, that the big bottle is not as good as the small one, at least in my experience. Then I went ahead and typed out Home Sweet Home. I have a Mac, so I used Pages. I have all the fonts and the sizes that I used below. If you have a Windows computer, you can use Word or another similar word processing, what it's called, word processing program to make this. And we're just going to use the faux graphite paper, graphite, you know what I'm talking about, where you turn it over and scribble all over the back with a pencil, and that's going to help transfer the image onto our surface. I wanted to do something that didn't require a Cricut because I know a lot of people don't have them, and while I love my Cricut and it makes things so much easier when I'm doing DIYs, I wanted to make sure that you guys, if you didn't have a Cricut, could also do this if you wanted to. And my spacing and centering is off completely on this one. It's been one of those kind of weeks. But you're just going to go ahead, once you have them cut out in the back, scribbled on with a pencil, and tape them down and then just trace over them. This is a white background, so it transfers beautifully. You can see it really well. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it on the video, but in person, it's very, very noticeable. And then we're just going to take some not apple barrel, we're going to take Waverly chalk paint in the color elephant, and we're just going to trace all of those letters and fill them in. Super easy. If you hear my dogs in the background, they are in their crates for the night sleeping, and they are snoring. I apologize for that. And because my spacing is so bad and it needed to be moved down, I went ahead and took a craft stick that I painted with some chalk paint from the dollar store. This is actually chalkboard paint. I'll leave a link below to the haul, or above to the haul. If anytime I need some black paint, I reach for this black chalkboard paint because it's so opaque. 1 coat coverage, I love it. So get you some. And then we're just going to take that craft stick and glue it right underneath the Home Sweet Home. And now I found this beautiful olive green and like natural striped ribbon. I couldn't think of what I was trying to say at Walmart. And I wanted to use it so badly in this project. So I just went ahead and cut out 3 pieces of ribbon. 2 of those I cut to 10 inches and 1 I cut to 8 inches. I have a video, my last video, where I shared a tutorial for you guys on how to make a very simple little bow. The lady explains it so much better than I could. I will link it above for you guys if you want to check it out. It's also what I'm doing on the screen. It's very easy, but she explains it so well. She goes very slowly in step-by-step instructions, and she's not sped up like mine is. But you basically just take some hot glue and run a bead right at the top, and then roll your ribbon around till the edges meet, and you're making these little loops. And then you just kind of scrunch them up in the middle and take a chenille stem and wrap it around the middle. Super easy. It could not be more simple, I promise. And this is a simple bow tutorial. And in that video of hers, she shows you how to make 4 different kinds of bows. This is just what I'm comfortable with right now because, you know, I tell you all the time, I'm really bad at making bows. That is very true. I had to watch a whole tutorial to make this very simple little bow, guys. So this is as good as it's going to get for right now. But we're just going to fluff that bow out, and then we're just going to hot glue it right underneath where the original hanger was. And then we're just going to take some Dollar Tree Nautical rope in just the natural color. You can use the white here too, it doesn't matter. And we're just going to fish that through and tie a little knot, and this one is done. It couldn't be more easy if you tried. And that bow just is everything. I love the bow. And it's very simple and very much my style. And for our second project, it is my least favorite and the one that caused me the most headache. Every time I use these little dice, they give me trouble. So I'm going to cover these dice with paint, but I wanted to show you the balloon method, which a lot of people use with a lot of success. I had some Dollar Tree white, they're kind of off-white balloons, and I was using those, but as you can see, the bottom of it is open. You can definitely see through it. It would require 2 balloons, which I tried, and it gave me some wrinkles, and I just didn't want to fool with it. So I took some apple barrel white paint and just gave it a couple coats. Make sure you are letting it dry completely. If you saw my last video that I used these dice, I'll link it above, you'll know that I had so hard of a time getting them to dry enough so that the paint did not peel. The matte paint was so much better to do that with than the paint that I used before, but just make sure they're dry completely before you finish painting them. And then I had this little oblong, is that the right word? Oblong? This little tray that I wanted to display them on, so I just took some white paint and painted that as well. So everything has 2 coats of apple barrel white paint, just like this. And because I want to mess that paint up and give it a little bit of dry brushing, I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to take some Waverly chalk paint in the color Elephant and paint with a dry brush the little charger and all 4 of the dice. And just to give them a little bit, the white was too stark, and I knew that I was going to use black lettering and a little bit of green, but it was still too much white. So this was my solution to that. This project, I've seen it done so many times, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to do it. Aside from me thinking it was going to be super easy, it really wasn't. It was a headache. I'm going to use some apple barrel chocolate bar. You guys know I love to use that anytime I'm distressing with paint. So I love the finished product. And I did love the way that the paint looked on the die and the charger. So I just printed out on my Cricut the HME, and then I used those Dollar Tree rub-on transfers for the little wreath in the middle. And it was all a pain, but there you go. And I also noticed that the dice are all different sizes too, so that was kind of throwing me off. But whatever, you see that it can be done, and that's all I was trying to convey. Now I'm going to make this cute little sign. I've had this for a couple of years. I bought it at the Dollar Tree. I don't know if they still have it, but I wanted to use it because, you know, I just always am looking for new decor to rotate in and out of my decor, and I didn't like the way it looks, so I decided to change it. I'm just going to go ahead and take some why do I keep saying that? Waverly chalk paint in the color Elephant and give it 2 good coats. It does have writing on it, which is white, and it did show through, so I did have to give it 2 coats. And you want to make sure you paint the sides as well and let it dry pretty good. The one thing I do love about the chalk paint is it does dry super easily. And the original had some lines on it. I decided to take a chalk paint pen and just draw out those same lines just to kind of keep it with the same feel that the old one had, just different colors and different wording, which is basically what I did. And then because the white lines I thought were a little too stark, I just went back over it with a little bit of that elephant to kind of subdue those down and make the white lines not so harsh. And we're going to use some of those Dollar Tree rub-on transfers. These are so hit and miss. The greenery that I used in the last one was a mess. Of course, it could have been the dice, honestly, because those things are a mess anyway, trying to work with, at least in my opinion. But this blank, this little wooden piece was perfect for this. These words I didn't have a single issue with. They went on, nothing peeled up. Nothing got stuck to the backing. It was perfect. So take that as you will. I have very good success using these on wood and other surfaces not so much. So there you go. And I just use Forever Thankful, and there are several different words in that little rub-on transfer pack that I showed you. So you can use whatever here. And then because the original did have a little clip on it, I used one of these Dollar Tree push pin clips and stuck it through the original hole, clipped off the excess on the back, and then covered it with a little bit of hot glue. Added a photo. This was super easy. It took all of 10 minutes, and I love the way that it turned out. And the last project is my favorite of the 4. I know this is not technically a spring video, but I wanted to add it. And I love the way that this turned out. We are just going to use one of these square Dollar Tree Easter signs. I'm going to take that little Easter bunny off. And they're so easy to take off. You can just get something right up underneath of it and it pops off. This bunny is adorable, and I do want to use it for something. So I have ideas going in my head for trying to figure out what to do with that. But we're just going to go ahead and take the bunny off, and then we're going to take off the original hanger because we don't need that. And then we are going to protect our work surface, and we're going to use this Waverly chalk paint in the color Pool. I love this color. It's perfect for spring and summer. It reminds me of like a robin egg blue, but also with pool water, like the prettiest pool water you could imagine. I don't know, it's just beautiful. I love it. And we're going to go ahead and give the sign a couple coats of this paint on the front and on the sides. And once we have that dry, we're just going to take some of the Dollar Tree medium size craft sticks, and we are going to cut the rounded ends off. We are going to use these to make a picture, not a picture frame, a frame around our sign. And we're also going to paint them white. I lost that footage, but we are going to paint them white. And then we're just going to take those. Actually, I'm lying. What we're going to do first is take this super cute little SVG file that I printed with my Cricut, and we're going to attach that to the sign. I left that link down below. If you have a Cricut and you want to do this, you can use it, but she also has a PNG. So you could also print it out and do the same method we did in the earlier project with the faux, graphite method, and then just trace it on there and paint it. But I love this. I thought it was so cute. I love the font. I love everything about it. It's so simple, but yet the font is so complex, and it was easy to weed. I didn't have any issues with it at all. And you can see that I have transfer paper again. My goodness, those UPS labels were driving me insane. So I finally found Walmart still did not have any transfer paper. So I had to go and buy it from Hobby Lobby. But we're just going to go ahead and take those painted craft sticks, and we're going to make that frame. When I'm doing a frame with our craft sticks, I always start at the top and the bottom, and then I fill in the sides and any gaps that I need to fill in, because you're going to have to cut things and all that good stuff. So that's what we're going to do. And I decided to try to make this one look a little bit more high end because it's craft sticks and they don't perfectly fit together. I am going to use a little bit of wood filler because I was just feeling like super extra for some reason. And you'll see that in just a second. But it honestly took no time at all because it dries super fast. So you can do that or you can skip it. Whatever works for you. My dogs are snoring in the background. I don't know if you can hear that, but they are. It's so loud to me. My husband is also working on our bathrooms, so if you hear some drilling, that's what that is. And now we're going to take that wood filler, and just on the tip of my finger, we are going to go over each one of the grooves where the craft sticks meet. We're just basically trying to fill that in and make it a more smooth surface. And it definitely does the job. It definitely does the trick. This dries super fast. All you have to do is sand it down. The only con is I'm using white here and it's dark brown. Even sanded down, it's still brown, and it does take a few coats of paint to cover it up. So, but it did turn out beautifully, and you cannot really see that it's popsicle sticks or craft sticks there. You can't see where they join together. So I'm glad that I did it. And it's dry. It dries super fast too. And then you just take a little sanding sponge. This one is from the Dollar Tree, and go ahead and sand all that down. And then, like I said, you're going to have to give it a couple good coats of paint. It took more than a couple coats to cover up the brown, but it is doable, and it is 100% possible. If you had a better white paint than I did, it might do it in just a couple coats. But like I said, I used that watery apple barrel paint, and it just wasn't doing the trick. So there we go. There is all together. I love it. I just found this super cute little burlap polka dot ribbon at the Dollar Tree, and I decided to use it up in the corner. And then I'm going to go ahead and take, of course, a piece of nautical rope and make a little hanger on the back and hook that on with some hot glue. And then I used some ribbon to secure it at the ends. I found some little little pink fingertip silicone, things to use with the hot glue so you don't get burnt, because I get burnt every time. And they were a godsend. And then we're just going to attach that little bow up in the top corner. And that's it, guys. I hope you like these projects. I hope you found something that you'd like to recreate. If you do, you can follow me on Instagram at doingitDIY with Allie. And let me know. Tag me in the picture. That's it, guys. I hope you guys have a great week. And until next time, bye-bye.